Hello, my name is Jeff Schroeder, and I play guitar in Night Dreamer.
I am Mindy Song, and I sing.
Earlier this year, I was actually at the NAMM show, and I was looking at a line of like hundreds of people waiting to get John Petrucci from Dream Theater's autograph. And I love John Petrucci. He's actually met him before. He's like great guy. I'm a big fan of his playing, actually. It was actually really looking at him going like, wow, he's created this legacy, and there's all these people that want to meet him because there's only one John Petrucci in the world. And to me, that was actually very inspirational. In my head, I said, you know what? I really need to start another band in addition to playing in the Smashing Pumpkins, which is my primary band, which I love, and that's my family, and I love those guys. But I also wanted to do some music of my own, and Mindy and I had gotten together in Chicago at my studio there one day. She was in town, and we wrote a couple songs and then kind of left it at that. I really wasn't ready to start a new band, but when I was ready to start a band, I called her or texted her and said, hey, I'm in LA, would you be interested in writing some songs?
And at the time, I was working on my own music and also working with my band, Wam Dingis, out in LA. And so when Jeff called, I was like, hell yeah, because for years, I mean, we sat on a few songs that we had written together, and I would message him periodically, like, we should work on this song because I think it's cool. And we got our CDs for the first time today, and the first song on the EP is the first song that we wrote together in Chicago years ago. So it was worth pestering him about finishing the music.
Crazy about Night Dreamer is that there's a guitar solo in every single song.
I'm always pushing him to go longer.
I have to play more solos in this band than any band.
I've literally asked,
which is funny, you know what I mean, when you really think about it. So one band that Mindy's grown to love a lot, but I think the viewers and readers of Guitar will be proud but shocked to know is Mindy is a massive Racer X Paul Gilbert fan.
Yes.
She loves Racer X.
Of all the music that you've played me, I'm like, whoa, that gets my heart racing. It's good stuff.
Yeah. It's just the two of us, and it's an electronic band, essentially. I play guitar over the top of it, but the whole style is something that I hadn't really gone fully into ever. And when we first started recording the songs, we started in a much more traditional sense with regular drums and bass and, more of like a rock and roll band. And I think, Mindy very rightly so was like, it just isn't, it's good, but it's not that interesting. And so she really took it upon her.
For our music.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely think drums are amazing.
No. I mean, but for just, like the way that the song, it didn't have like a vibrancy that we were looking for. And so she was the one who was like, hey, do you mind if I was back in Chicago working on Pumpkin stuff, and she said, do you mind if I kind of take these tracks to the studio and try playing around with some drum machine stuff and programming beats and keyboards and whatnot. And I think the first day that she worked in the studio with Andy Toy in LA, I think she was so nervous to send it to me because she thought I was going to have a meltdown.
I thought it was going to be over after I send him the file.
But what I heard was really exciting. I felt like, wow, that's interesting. And I think that's what the nature of good collaboration is to find collaborators and partners that you want to that you want to create with, and trust them when they want to take the lead and be like, hey, let's go down here. And once I kind of heard certain things, I knew the way to respond, like from a guitar perspective. And so then being able to play guitar over this kind of different type of rhythmic and sonic landscape forced me to play differently. And for me as a player, I feel like it's some of the best playing I've ever done in my life. So it's really exciting to me to play over this stuff.
For the most part, when I broke down the beat and stuff, it was just important for me to be able to feel on my own, like, could I dance to this? Like, you know, does this raise my energy in a certain way? And it's super fun because to have Jeff's guitar playing, like kind of like crazy guitar playing over these like electronic beats. I don't know. I mean, I don't listen to too much music like that. And so it's just a really fun territory to explore. And we're continuing to write new music now. And, you know, it's just the beginning. And so it's really cool to see like this road that kind of opens up wider and wider, it seems.
Well, yeah, because, you know, in recent music, unless it's kind of a certain type of throwback music, the guitar's kind of taken a hit in contemporary kind of pop music. There's not a ton of guitar, and we're obviously not a pop band either, but the songs are very, you know, they're not prog rock either, so they're very kind of pop oriented, you know, in a certain sense. But I didn't want to use a lot of distortion for rhythm guitar. When it was distortion, most of the time it's like 2 fuzz pedals direct with no amp. So it's like a very, like, it's like running the guitar straight into the board and maxing it out. Because I'm a big fan of this band from the early 90s called Medicine, which was I guess they got lumped into the shoegaze guitar movement. Because in the UK, they were signed to Creation Records, which put out My Bloody Valentine and Ride and all that stuff. But they were from LA, and they were actually signed to American Records, which was Rick Rubin's label. And Brad Lehner, the guitar player, used to play his distortion pedal was a Yamaha 4-track. And I think he had a JC120 and maybe a super reverb and in stereo, but with a couple pedals and stuff. But the main sound was that Yamaha 4-track, just distorted. And it was just the most intense, gnarly sound you'd ever heard. And it just like beautifully ugly or something like that. And so I thought in my head, if I could kind of, you know, use that type of guitar sound, which mixed with a lot of super subby, aggressive, low synth bass, and kind of keep it really melds well together. And so it almost does sound like a synth. Yeah, and I didn't use any regular amps on the record at all. Everything was done with the Line6 Helix. Everything from either the HX Stomp or the floor unit or even the plug-in, depending on what studio I was at and where I was. So I didn't use any real amps. Everything is direct DI, and so which is great for playing live because I just use the Helix and I have the exact sounds, and it's awesome. Another thing that I did is I really tried not to play any chords, like strum a full chord. If I used chords, it was arpeggiated, or I played single note stuff with delays and echoes and harmonizers to create bigger sounds. And so in doing that, I really played a lot differently, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it kind of like I felt like if I could kind of create my own idiosyncratic guitar language within our world, it would be just more interesting. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And it's been fun now that you have a body of work to kind of look and evaluate to see like, okay, now where do I want to take it? So and this past week we spent some time in Toronto working on new tracks, and I've gone for even like a more orchestrated guitar percent. There's not a ton of, like on the EP, it's like there's a lot of guitar, but like it's pretty simplistic in terms of tracking. It'd be like in or out, big distorted guitar, kind of clean, not a ton. I tried to kind of keep it more like if one guy was sitting there playing in the room. But on these new songs recorded, it's a much more lush, layered guitar approach. Still not playing tons of chords, because I think with synthesizers and stuff, it just doesn't, you don't need it because the synths kind of create the bigness, so you're just looking for ways to kind of cut through and weave through those sounds. But there's a ton of overdubs, and it's starting to, I'm very proud of kind of the where it's all going. I'm really excited about it. I mean, there's nothing like plugging into an amp in a room, and a vintage amp. They can be amazing, and the pedals and like the way they respond, the way they feel. But for us, like in this band, like it's just the two of us. We have to get on an airplane, fly to a gig, and so I can't even bring an amp. Get to bring at this stage just bringing one guitar, my pedals, my Helix, and that's it. But what's amazing in that technology is that I have the whole, basically like a fairly detailed history of the first 70 years of guitar, amp, and pedal making and effects that have been made, and you get to create from that palette, and that's really powerful. And the sonic difference is not, it's getting closer and closer every day. So considering the nature of the business and what we have to deal with on an economic level, it's like I'm thankful for technology like that, because it allows me to play at a very high level of sonic integrity without having to carry around $20,000 worth of equipment and carry it myself. No roadies.
Be impossible.
No roadies and guitar techs on the Night Dreamer tour yet.
No. Actually, I am your roadie because I carry around your guitar.
That's kind of true. Yeah, that's true. Tonight I'm playing a Reverend Rees Gabrel's model with the Sustainiac, because I use the Sustainiac. I'm a Yamaha endorser and so we're actually working on a couple guitars specifically for this band. They're just not ready yet, and so I had to use this guitar tonight, which is a great guitar too. I think people are gonna be shocked when they see these new Yamahas that they're gonna be Yamaha Pacificas, but they're going to be totally tricked out to my specifications. If people know me, they should know what to expect.
The music is very personal, but also I feel timely, and there are a variety of themes that I've kind of delved into as far as the lyrics go. And it's just exciting to be able to kind of ride over Jeff's guitar playing, because we have this kind of call and response going on, and there's the language of the melodies and the guitar parts and the synths, and then there's also the lyrics, and so I just have to go out there and remember what I'm saying.
No, it is true, because you think about like the ingredients of a band and what kind of brings the identity to the table. And when we, especially preparing for the live shows, you have, we get used to, you have to listen to the backing tracks that you're playing to, which are missing my guitar and her vocals, and you hear that and you're like, oh, it sounds, the tracks sound interesting and cool, but could be anybody. And then it's not till my guitar and her vocals to where you realize, okay, that's where, in a good way, where all the personality exists, and that's, what the computer, programming and all that stuff can never provide. And even though we're an electronic band, still to me like a rock band.
I went to the underground and pushed some time around, forget all of the dreams we used to have.
To find more about us, you can find us on Instagram at Night Dreamer, and our website is also nightdreamermusic.com. You can subscribe to our newsletter where we release detailed information about what we're up to, and we're also on Facebook too, so Night Dreamer Music.
We've already been invited to play South by Southwest in March, so we're going to be probably doing something with Yamaha and Line 6 there, and yeah, so it's lots of good things have been happening. So we're, like I said, we feel very lucky, and we're just super excited about making more music. So we already have 2 songs basically done for even a new either EP or a full-length record. We're not quite sure how far we're going to take it, but yeah.
Taking it all the way.
Yeah, well, we're having fun, and yeah, we feel like just getting started.